Welcome to BaseballGuys.com. I'm your host, Ray Flowers. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm a bad writer or if it's because I do such a good job on these videos, but I've been getting a lot of response from the readers, from the users, from all of you, saying that you like these videos, so I'm going to continue to do them as often as I can here at BaseballGuys.com. Brad Lidge has got elbow stiffness. He came in, had one save, now there's concerns. No news yet if this is a DL thing, if this is something that's going to set him back. He's obviously not going to be available to pitch here on Tuesday night. They're going to monitor the situation, hopeful to get a more in-depth and thorough report on what is going on. Again, elbow stiffness. Lidge himself said it wasn't that serious, but then after throwing on Tuesday afternoon, seemed a little bit perturbed when the media kind of approached him. We'll have to wait and see what this means. Jose Contreras obviously is the pitcher to grab at this point. You can even go Dennis Baez if you really want to go deep. Hopefully it's a minor issue with Brad Lidge and we'll see him pitching in a few days, but this is just another in a long series of setbacks that Lidge has basically been saddled with since well back into last season. Franklin Morales is another pitcher who's had some issues with his arm. This time it's even worse for Morales. He's already been placed on the disabled list a day after the Rockies said he wouldn't need to go on the disabled list, so I don't know what the reason for the switch there was. But Manny Corpas, despite getting torched the other night, will be the closer for the next couple weeks until Houston Street returns. We talked about Houston Street yesterday. Street should be back with the Rockies in about 2 weeks. Manny Corpas is basically the guy right now. There's been some issues with the health of Beckett. Obviously, as I mentioned, we're without the lefty Franklin Morales. Look for Manny Corpas to pick up whatever safe chances there are for the next couple weeks until Houston Street returns. Joe Mauer, good news for him in the Twins organization. Joe Mauer, AL MVP, one of the best hitters in baseball. He's back in the lineup and batting third tonight, returning finally to that starting lineup after missing time with that heel injury. Insert him back into your lineup immediately. No reason to think that Joe Mauer won't go out and produce those hits, one every 3 at-bats, if not more, for the Minnesota Twins. Nelson Cruz was hopeful of returning Thursday. There was a little bit of scare in the media when it was announced he wouldn't come back on Thursday. Well, we have clarification on the matter now. He didn't suffer a setback with his hamstring. The Rangers are just going to activate him on Friday instead of Thursday. So therefore, Nelson Cruz should be available, good to go for this weekend series. If you have a weekly lineup, look to see how he does, but pretty much it's a guarantee you're going to want him in your lineup next week. If you're in a day-to-day transaction league, get ready to activate the slugger. Nelson Cruz should be back in the Rangers lineup on Friday. Josh Beckett will miss his start on Friday. He already had his start pushed back, and now he'll be scratched from that start in its entirety. What happened? Here's what happened. In preparation for interleague play that's coming up, Josh Beckett was taking batting practice, and apparently he tweaked his back. Now, I find it very hard to believe that athletes, honed athletes such as baseball players, really have such trouble trying to hit, pulling muscles, all that kind of thing. This will probably start up all the talk of whether or not pitchers should even be hitting anymore. We should just use designated hitters, especially in interleague play. Because he's on the Red Sox, it'll probably get a lot of national exposure. Bottom line, though, is Beckett will not make his next start. We're not certain if this is a DL thing or not. It doesn't appear to be overly serious. The Red Sox have basically at this point only said he's going to miss that one start. But those of you in weekly play leagues, you're not going to get that start from Beckett this week. Hopefully he's back and pitching in his next turn in the rotation for the Red Sox. Braun is another player who's dealing with a little bit of a minor issue. He took a pitch off his elbow. It's swollen. He will not play on Tuesday. Said it's not a major issue, doesn't think it's something that's going to keep him out long term. He might miss a couple of days with this. This is not a DL issue. However, you want to keep a close eye on how Braun does once he returns, because again, an elbow is a pretty important part of that swing. We'll have to wait and see if this saps his strength at all in the short term. Long term, he should be just fine. J.J. Hardy is another player who's injured. Seems like everyone we're talking about today is injured. He's actually been placed on the disabled list. It's retroactive a couple days. He can then, I think, return on the 20th or the 21st of May from that wrist injury. What are the Twins going to do in the meantime? Well, they decided to call up Talbot. They're probably going to have Brennan Harris, though, see the majority of work at shortstop. Hopefully, Hardy will be able to return in a couple of weeks, get back in that lineup, and start to provide some of that power that the Twins were looking for when they brought him in this offseason. And then finally, the Braves, looking to get some offense going, looking to juggle things up a bit, have changed their batting order. They moved Martin Prado, who's been their best hitter all season, into the leadoff spot. He and his .315 batting average will take a shot from there. Jason Heyward is also back in the lineup. He's returning from his groin injury. He's been hitting mostly 6th and 7th this year. He'll now be put in the second hole. A little bit of an oddity considering he leads the team in home runs, RBIs, OPS, pretty much a lot of the offensive categories there. But the Braves, again, looking to change things up, score a little bit of offense, are now going to have their 2 best hitters, at least currently, fill those 1 and 2 spots in the batting order. Again, I'm Ray Flowers. This is BaseballGuys.com. Thanks for joining me. Talk to y'all again soon.